See if you recognize any of these hammocking grates. They all have something in common. See if you can figure out what it is. Have you figured out what those hammocking grates have in common? Yeah, you're right. It's socks. But not this kind. I've used socks from 90 degrees all the way to 1.6 degrees. We've all seen what high extreme winds can do to tarps. Flapping, stakes pulled out of the ground. But socks are immune to this. They're very sleek. The silhouette presents very little for the wind. Less heat to be stolen. Less lines to be untangled in the morning. We know the sock performs in extreme wind. So if socks are so great, where do they fail? Well, here's where socks fail. By their nature, they can't be waterproof, or else you would sweat to death with the condensation inside. So it's required that we still carry a tarp. That was then. On the other side of the rainbow was this man, Samurai Joe. You guys know him as Joe Valesky at Z-Packs. He had something that we needed, the missing link to pull this project off. It was with great fortune that I met and befriended Hanging Out on 2 group hangs. In the Red River Gorge, we discussed this possible project and how one could possibly go about it. And then this material was discovered at Z-Packs. By this point in time, I'd seen Hanging Out's work on his own backpacks, hammocks, tarps. I knew he was one of the designers at Lilo Underquilts. I knew he was the man for this project. These other materials were considered, but they were all too heavy. When the materials had all been weighed, there really was only one choice. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow was this: waterproof, breathable Cuban. Probably more people know overcovers like this Bear Burrito Oven by AHE, or undercovers, and I'll show you one of those in a minute. They probably know these 2 accessories for hammocking more than socks, but a sock is really a combination of an overcover and the undercover, or the underquilt protector. An overcover saved me at the Ocala hang in Florida when it was really chilly and I had the wrong top quilt. This undercover I'm using in Great Sand Dunes National Park at 28 degrees. Both at significant amounts of heat.
Hey folks, McIntyre here. I want to show you the new hammock sock design based on Hanging Out's bug net. See, this one has a shorter seep. Remove the seep and it has a wall held up by a shock cord.
Hi, I'm Pip Sissewa. I wanted to show you my top entry detachable bug net based on Hanging Out's zipperless bug net.
Picture of Medic's man's model, scale model for the sock with some custom hiking posts. I will consume those shortly while I'm making your sock. See it underneath. The tarp is scale, if it was full size half tarp, 100 inches across the back. Doesn't have to be this big, it's just in there for scale. Let's look at it a little bit closer. This is a Talking Hands video. Show you some options on the tarp. The bottom will stay the same in all the configurations we're going to talk about. It'll be the 0.51 Cuban with a breathable strip. So that'll cover the bottom. It'll come and wrap around the other hammock. I got a way to do that where you can take it on and off without having to take the hammock out. But what we want to cover today is really where the materials are going to go. Here's the first option, and the one I kind of suggest. This green area right here, I would suggest making it out of 0.69 momentum. You know, it's highly windproof, but not waterproof. What it has is the entry with the shock cord. So whether your tarp is out or not, it seals right back up, cuts the wind off on around the corners, everything. If you want to, we can make it where the shock cord's adjustable and it'll just flip down out of the way, and you could be swinging in your hammock open like this. I would suggest this if you go with the tarp on that side, because we go with Cuban with this, tarp it out. I'll throw those in the pack so you'll be ready to go. You can see underneath, got a little sitting room. Let's get inside and see what we got in there.
Surprise!
Somebody's been trying out the hammock sock with that. Look at the static. It's got your hair going up like you're in a... Oh yeah. How you like it?
Nice.
The Lilo Zeppelin making its first appearance, at least in my life, on a trail at the Roundhouse Campground on the Katy. I'll show you a few more shots inside. Okay, we're inside the Lilo Zeppelin, and this is a hammock sock made out of the waterproof breathable Cuban. And you guys have seen this feature before. This is automatic closing seep. It's out of Momentum 90, and I'll pull it down, and now you can see the waterproof breathable Cuban is this whitish band, and then it's going to change tints. Right here I'm pointing to is the normal Cuban. A couple of pockets to stash gear, phone, camera. Several different ways to set up the tarp portion. I'm in minimal mode, where I've just got this much space that you see between the hammock and the edge of the tarp where that gear is. This takes 2 stakes and you're done. This is another mode. This is one I'll probably use the most often. Instead of staking anything out, I've just taken my hiking poles and slid them into this sleeve, one on each side, just to weight down the seat. So I've been hiking all day. I pull the whole rig out, the hammock sock, the hammock's inside of it, the underquilt, the top quilt, the tarp's built in. Attach it to a tree, put the poles in that sleeve, and then I'm done. Crawl in, go to sleep. This is the Lilo Zeppelin in full on porch mode. A few more minutes to set up with the hiking poles. I admit, I'm not used to Leckies. I use the telephone poles, but very simple, very quick. Yeah, that's Pooh's Danger Bird. She's sitting up right beside me. But just to give you an idea, here's a view looking out of the Zeppelin when I'm in the big porch mode. Of course, I won't be using those little pockets when it's set up. On this trip, I'm using Warbonnet Traveler. This hammock sock can be used with any gathered end. And here's my view of the campground in the full reposed position. This shot's looking through the translucent normal Cuban fiber. Once we get into the waterproof breathable, you'll notice we lose the translucency. Hammock socks are usually intended to add additional warmth and block wind. It's maybe 85 degrees out here today. The insulation I'll be using tonight when it drops down into the upper 50s, lower 60s is a double Mac IX, and that should be plenty warm, maybe even too warm. We'll see. The other beauty of full-on porch mode is ventilation. That's where I'm getting, you can see the wind zipping through here and puffing up the Zeppelin. But this will be the coolest configuration. And I'm going to show you in just a second how we pop that momentum seat out of the way. In this shot, I'm letting the wind waft through the hammock sock, and you can see how it got its name, the Lilo Zeppelin. It's not completely inflated now, but if the wind picks up a little bit, it'll quickly inflate. You can also see that waterproof, breathable Cuban patch or section on the bottom. Of course, most of the moisture is going to go up with the body heat, but this will let some go out the bottom if it needs to.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was just going to show hanging out. We've got plenty of room under the tarp portion for 2 people to sit and cook.
I don't see no bacon and eggs.
Demo purposes only.
Go.
Poof is timing me. Setting up. Done.
In this configuration, the tarp portion of the hammock sock is really close to the hammock, but you can see that there's a little gap and promote good airflow if it's hot. Also keep me completely shielded from the weather. Good morning, day 6. Pretty amazing that it's June the, I don't know, what day is it? It's June something. June 7th. And it's 55.2 degrees. And the warmest that it was inside the hammock sock last night was 69 degrees.
It's still early to be crunching numbers, but an underquilt protector is 7 ounces. An overcover is 7 ounces. A tarp is 8 ounces. So 7, 7, and 8 is how much? 22, 23 ounces. The sock version that I'm using is 16 ounces. So that's a 6 ounce savings if you wanted all 3 components. We'd have saw 15 degrees of warmth, 14 degrees of warmth from the sock. That's a huge advantage. Multiple configurations of setup. I think it's a winner. Would you use it all the time? I don't know. It's 55 degrees and it's June. I'm glad I had it. So I can see it used year-round now. The length of the tarp portion was big enough that Poof and I could sit under it and cook. That was one of the debates back and forth with hanging out, how big to make that tarp. I think it ended up It's perfect size-wise. Could be made shorter. Ways to save weight. Maybe you don't like the momentum seat that pops into place. That would save maybe 3 ounces. But it's I think, the design feature that holds in the warmth. One thing I've added for this trip was the bug net. Maybe it's not necessary all the time. Leave it at home. That would save, I think, maybe 8 or more ounces for this version of a bug net. That might be another design feature to look for in the future version of a hammock sock, which is, integrated bug netting just on this side that also acts like that momentum seat, pops in and out of position. Something to think about. After several nights in the sock, I can only tell you I love it. I think it's definitely a ticket, not the ticket, but a ticket to the moon.
Pull back.
Didn't stay in focus. Try it again.